Hi, my name is Donnie Goodwin. I'm the Yankee Frugalist, and Happy New Year. So it's year 2017, and though I'm not having a no-spend January, I'm going to try to have a low-spend January, which means we're trying to use up whatever we have. So one of the tricks that I use to save money is to make sure that I use all of the food that I do purchase. So a lot of times we'll come down to the end of our bread, and I will just stick it in a plastic bag like this and put it in the freezer. You can freeze it separately or all together, it doesn't really matter. And then I'll just take it out and leave it on the counter. So what are you going to use this extra bread for, you ask? Well, today we're making one of my personal favorites, bread pudding. So we're just going to take our bread and put it here in the toaster. We've got the ends and all the stuff that nobody wants to eat. And we're going to toast that up. So the other things that you can use this bread for would be, you could make croutons out of it, cut it in little squares, and put some butter on it and crisp it up in the oven. We'll put some seasoning like garlic and that kind of thing. Italian seasoning, and make some croutons for yourself. You could also do French toast for dinner one night. Great way to use up the ends of your bread. Also, you could do stuffing out of it. I like to make my stuffing homemade, so I'll often do that. So once this bread gets toasted, we're just going to put some butter and some cinnamon. So now we're just going to take this, and this is the dish I'm making this in, so I'm just buttering up my bread here, just like you would with toast. So I'm just going to sprinkle this with some cinnamon sugar. I've put about 3 tablespoons of sugar in here and probably about a tablespoon of cinnamon. I didn't really measure it, I just kind of did it to color. And I'm just going to heavily put cinnamon on each piece of my bread. You can see this pours out pretty well. If you don't have a shaker, you can just mix it up in a bowl and then shake, sprinkle it onto your bread. And then what you're going to do is break this up into pieces. So you want to break it up into bite-sized pieces in the bottom of our pan. This is also, by the way, a really good way for me to get rid of my eggs because I have chickens and I always have eggs. We have 9 chickens, which is 9 eggs a day for both me and my husband. But anyway, now we're going to add in our raisins. It's 1/3 cup of raisins, and you just sprinkle them in here like that. And over here, I have some eggs. So it's just 3 whole eggs. I'm going to mix those up a little bit. And while we've been talking, I have scalded my milk. I just put my milk on a medium-low. I kept an eye on it. You don't want it to burn just until it's hot. Not until it's boiling, but just until it's hot. So that's been off to the side. We're also going to add in here 1/3 cup of brown sugar and 1/3 cup of white sugar. So we're going to put that right in here, mix that in. We need a teaspoon of vanilla. I just put a smidge extra. And now we're going to take my scalded milk and slowly pour it in here because you don't want to cook your eggs. Perfect. And now what we're going to do is just pour this over our bread. Now when you're making custards, and this is a type of custard in the oven, you need to put that into another pan and put hot water in the pan. That's what gives your custard that pudding type texture. So we're going to put this in here, and I had boiled some water earlier, and we're going to fill this up with nice hot water about halfway up the side of this dish. And now we're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees, and it's going to bake for about 65 to 70 minutes. And I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out. And now I've taken my bread pudding out of the oven. I've taken it out on this big pan, and you can see it's a nice golden brown. The pudding's all set up. Now you want to take it out of this pan and put it to the side to let it cool for a bit before you serve it. You can serve it with whipped cream, you can serve it with ice cream, or just by itself. It's absolutely delicious. I just want to say that you've got to be very careful in lifting this out so that you don't get your whatever you're using into the water. So just be real careful. And this is how I kind of do it. And now I've lifted that out of there. And we're going to let this cool off a little bit. Not very much, just about 15 minutes, and then we'll serve it warm for dessert.